Oh boy, guys, we are in the patch cycle already. It's the middle of the patch, and Bellular has identified some problems. Finally, Bellular is not shilling. Who would have thought? Let's get right into it, shall we?
This is one of the most unanimous L's they've taken, and that is loot rules. Blizzard said that their loot rules would stop pretty much all the problems that people would have with group loot. But the rules didn't work, leaving out a few pretty damn vital clauses to stop people ninjing tier and items for disenchant, and also generally destroying dual wielders' lives. Generally, Pug rating in 10.0 has very quickly turned into a little bit of a hellscape as far as some of the loot is concerned, especially the likes of tier. I mean, how bad does it feel when you kill a boss and somebody manages to get both tier tokens?
God, who would have thought that loot would still be an issue in DragonFlight? I mean, group loot is so much better, right?
And Blizzard will be updating the rule set for that, because there's a lot of people that hear about need greed and they're like, what if somebody needs in something they don't need? Well, you'll only be able to need in stuff that's relevant to you.
Stuff that is relevant to your loot specialization, which is an option when you right-click your character. You don't have to be feral in order to roll feral. You can be a boomkin and roll feral. So, technically, you can still ninja roll on everything so long as you were smart enough to change your loot specialization. Or even better, let's say you're trying to funnel gear to your healer, right? But the item that the healer wants is also very good for, let's say, mages and shit like that. But there's only one mage, but you want to funnel the gear to the healer. So any class that is capable of having a healer spec, right? Let's say this is a ring, okay? Let's say it's a ring, because a lot of people can equip rings. So a paladin will roll holy. A shadow priest will roll holy or disc, doesn't matter. An enhancement or elemental shaman will roll resto. All the druids can just go resto, right, for the specialization. Guess what? You can have a lot of people rolling for that healer ring if it drops, and then giving it to the person you want to give it to, and not to the mage who also needs it. Yes, totally solves the problem. Fucking idiots.
And these problems are not the existential crises like damn near everything we had to talk about during Shadowlands. Mythic plus dungeon balance. Yeah, this is a bit of an L. Look at this comparison of key levels that were completed a few weeks ago near the start of the season. So pretty much people's first impression of Mythic plus DragonFlight. Some dungeons are easy, like Shadow and Burial Grounds. Others are ballbusters, like the Ruby Life Pools. Between the loot table differences, the need to clear all dungeons for Mythic Plus score, the fact that keys roll randomly, this discrepancy is a bad experience. Like, a plus 15 should be a plus 15, roughly speaking. If you get a key that's for a harder dungeon, then you have to find a group to do another key first, so you can then re-roll your key. If the Horn of Valor or the Scoval Trinket are bis for you, you're just going to have a harder time getting geared in WoW than other people. Now, this is not a game breaker, but it's an element of friction that makes the game feel subtly worse. You know, as if the numbers are just made up, because when is a 20 a 20? When is it not a 20? I mean, I don't know, whenever Blizzard make it so. Now, thankfully, they are already working on this. They have been nerfing the hell out of dungeons on a pretty snappy basis since they've returned from their Christmas holidays. So hopefully they've got some smart cookies figuring out why this continues to happen, and like with the spec balance, they can figure out a plan to stop this dead in its tracks with the next season.
Yeah, they can stop it dead in tracks with the next season. The next season that, by the way, has 4 of the worst dungeons of DragonFlight. So we got the 4 better dungeons, the better versions. Can you even imagine what's going to happen in the next 4? Halls of Infusion is substantially worse than Ruby Life Pools, just by design. Okay? We don't even know the numbers, but let's say that this. Mythic 0 Ruby Life Pools versus Mythic 0 Halls of Infusion. Ruby Life Pools is easier. Okay? Brackenhide, Ruby Life Pools is easier. Tier, Ruby Life Pools is easier. Okay? And also, Mythic Plus, look, I'm not gonna lie. I really don't like Mythic Plus right now. 4 new dungeons, 3 of them are pretty much not doable. Like, they're doable, but it's like at a lower level than where you are. So for example, Algathar Academy, you can do a 13. Ruby Life Pools, you can probably do an 11. Azure Vault, you can probably do an 11. Knockwood, you can probably do an 11. If you can do a 13 Academy, you can do those ones. Now, while you can do a 13 Academy, you can also do probably a 17 Shadow Moon Valley.
These problems are not the existential crises like damn near everything we had to talk about during Shadowlands. Valor Cap. Alright, maybe gearing as a whole is a topic for another day, but for all the benefits of the M+ upgrade system and the return of Valor, the cap itself is controversial. Now, before you type your comment, don't worry, you are spot on. The Valor cap does actually have a lot of pretty good reasons to exist, as in ensuring people don't just spam all of the +2s in the universe as quickly as they can to upgrade their gear in a boring farm, and to stop people from finishing gearing in 2 weeks and then create a schism between the sweat lords and the normal players in terms of gear.
These arguments for Valor Cap being capped is a good thing so people don't fucking spam. Listen, it's not fucking rocket science. Lower the amount of Valor Cap from the lower Mythic Pluses, increase the amount on higher Mythic Pluses. Increase the amount, for example, if one run's supposed to take 40 minutes, the other one's supposed to take 30 minutes, the 40-minute run should give you more Valor, okay? Like, this is not fucking rocket science. I don't know why people are defending this point. First of all, it shouldn't even be capped. And you know what? I already talked about this, so hit the video. Valor points. Oh my god, why are they... I don't like Valor points. I don't like that they're time-gated. I like the idea that there's a way to upgrade your gear, sure. But honestly, go a step forward, make them work like Conquest, and also remove the time-gating on them. Like, why is it capped at 1500 when an upgrade requires 500? Like, it's just... What are you gonna upgrade, really?
These problems are not the... Primal Storms kind of feel useless, at least to a lot of us. So I want to hear what this has been like for you. Have you done Primal Storms at all? If yes, leave a comment saying yes. If no, say no. But I really want to hear from you. I mean, for my guild, basically no one's been doing them. Now, this is less of a problem, and it's more just a waste of resources, because the timing of their drop and the sort of gated nature of them kind of wastes them a bit.
You guessed it. I already talked about it. Let's go. Leveled 11 alts and I try to get all of them to like do a +15. But the way I see it's like, why would I bother trying to do the +15 now? While they're all 330 and takes a very annoying, it's a pretty annoying time to get them to like 380 or anything like that. Just to like, even 370 to start doing Mythic Plus properly. So instead of that, I'd rather wait, craft basic like 370 gear and or buy the elemental like Primal Storm gear, which is like 385. So it's like log in, do the Primal Store, get the item, you know, switch characters, etc every week, get my Primal Storm items, which will take me 10 to 12 weeks. So basically by the end of the season I should be able to get 385 on all of my characters without really playing them. I'm thinking about that. It's like, why would I even do that? Just pay the sub for nothing.
These problems are not the existential crises like damn near everything we have. Spec balance. Listen, it's hard to balance a game like WoW. The differences across spec, gear, player skill, they're insane. But the outliers are just too damn big to be acceptable. Looking at a few stats, we can see that people sometimes just cannot play the spec that they want. I mean, first, Mythic Plus unique class population from Raider.io, including all Mythic Plus runs, around 8% of DPS are mages, but only 1.2% play fire. More rogues are playing Outlaw than Assassination and Subtlety combined. There's almost no survival hunters, almost 4 times more Fury Warriors than Arms, and more demo locks than the other 2 types of Warlock combined.
Okay, now look. This is such an annoying point. during BFA, during Shadowlands, during Legion, people said it's like, well, it's really hard to balance because there are all these external systems. What's their excuse now? There are no external systems. They don't have to break their head over like, oh, how do we balance this? This will affect this. This will affect that. Everything is exponential. 400% there, 20% here, 500% there. What's their excuse now? There is no fucking excuse. They cannot fucking balance their own fucking classes without an external system. Are you fucking kidding me? Now, what he's showing doesn't really say, well, in some of the graphs, it's like, well, more people are playing this than that. More people playing Fury over Arms. Now, why are more people playing Fury over Arms? If their DPS is the same, which usually what Blizzard looks for, DPS is very similar. Which one is easier to play? Probably Fury. Honestly, it's like 2 buttons because you make one of them now passive in your talents. You literally press 2 buttons for the whole rotation, and then you spend it all on Enrage. Like, okay, so maybe something about difficulty versus reward should also be taken into account. Now, the other thing is, in between, let's say, Paladin spec. I mean, it's hard with Paladin because like they're all one is tank, one is DPS, one is holy. But let's say you have Disc Priest and a Holy Priest. In a raid, they might be used differently, right? They bring different things. But in a Mythic Plus, Holy is just so much easier to play. It's so much easier. It's so much more useful. It has like it's just a pure healer. Right. Meanwhile, Disc easy to fuck up and not really worth the effort. So all of these problems where it's like you make a spec difficult or you make a class more difficult. Therefore, why would you play it just to get the same amount of DPS or HPS or it tanks the same way? There's no real reason to do it. So obviously people will also not only go for the meta, they will also go for what's easier to play and brings more utility. It's not all about DPS. However, as we see in the raid charts, you can see a discrepancy. It's not massive, but you can see a serious discrepancy between the top 50%, top bottom 50%, right? There's like between the top one and the bottom one, there's a big fucking difference. That there's no excuse for. I'm sorry, there really isn't. Why? Why is that a thing? Because Blizzard doesn't know what the fuck they're doing. That's why.
Are not the existential crises. Professions. I mean, maybe this is Blizzard's biggest oof in some ways. We're going to dig into this in much greater depth in the future, but basically here's your rundown. I think the overhaul is generally fantastic, absolutely smashing idea with good execution, but a few small issues have been kind of cropping up together, resulting in some pretty serious experience problems. Number 1, you're not able to respec profession knowledge, and that's causing people to be punished heavily for not planning ahead perfectly in time. Problem 2, knowledge doesn't have a catch-up, so players who start late or maybe fail to get all of their knowledge in a week, they are left feeling permanently behind in what is often considered to be a bit of a winner-takes-all market. Problem 3, work orders have a supply-demand problem because they're instantly snapped up. So to most crafters, it just doesn't look like there are any work orders being placed. And that's bad because that's where they're supposed to be getting their skill ups for their crafting, past a certain point. Problem 4, actually getting to the level caps of professions used to feel like now the real game starts. But this time, it is far more difficult, sometimes expensive. And it matters even more than before because that skill matters to the high-end crafts. So the work order system not being ideal really causes a problem there. Problem 5. It's a well-designed system, but there are a lot of caveats and variables. So it takes the entire length of a chat message to explain what you can actually craft. Point 6 then, prices are often obscenely high for people who don't have much time to go and just grind out gold. It's a bit of a limiting factor, not as bad as legendaries were in any way, but the highest quality of enchants and crafting gear is absolutely brutally priced unless you're a trade baron, a booster, or a, swiper.
Look, professions have multiple issues, honestly. Like, Bellular goes over it very well. I would say the main issue, first of all, it's not even for the crafter. I think it's honestly for the people making the work order. If you care about the item level that you're getting from the work order, you shouldn't even post it on public because you're not going to get the item level, like the best item level. Usually you might get a 4-star, might get a 3-star. So it's not really worth it. And also you provide all the material for like whatever, right? So like right now, Blizzard reduced the amount of or crafts, work orders that people can craft to 4, which was used to be 20. It's like, doesn't solve the problem. Now people are just gonna look for somebody who can just craft a higher fucking item level. Like, it doesn't make any fucking sense. Like, why would I use a work order and probably get a lower item level than I could potentially get? It doesn't make any fucking sense. It's like, oh, it's gonna cost me less. You can easily find extremely cheap prices. There are people who are crafting almost for free. You provide all the mats, they will mostly craft it for free. Right? It's like, and like, give them a tip of like 1,000. Like, it's not that fucking big of a deal. The only thing that actually costs a lot of money, aside from like enchants and shit, is the lariat, like the necklace. That's the only thing, and it's like, that's because Blizzard, in their fucking brilliance, decided that this necklace recipe is gonna be extremely hard to get, but this is the best necklace. What do you think would happen when a necklace that is extremely hard to get, like a recipe that is extremely hard to get, but also provides the best freaking best in slot gear for pretty much every class? What do you think is gonna happen? People are gonna monopolize on that shit. It's so dumb. I don't understand who's like, oh my god, just hiring a normal human being with some function in his brain. It's so fucking stupid.
The Creation Catalyst, which has since been renamed for some reason, is our tier catch-up system. And it's only being added now, long after people have either got their tier or have just spent weeks feeling bad because they don't have it. And the resounding community feedback is to just add the catalyst in way faster. Blizzard actually said that they admitted it was too slow with Season 3. So why not do it better? I mean, maybe even make tier gear be awarded on a fixed schedule or something because it's too important to be random. I mean, that's what some people would want. Even 1 charge a week for the first 4 weeks of a patch is still a whole month. So I don't know. I just think for Season 2, let's do an experiment and drop the catalyst into the game way earlier.
Okay, the catalyst now, a certain WoW shill, like super shill, is like, you don't understand the point. The catalyst is basically for people to catch up. Okay, sure, maybe. How about the people who like have been playing since launch, have been doing the content every week, just, you know, didn't get lucky? Oh well, the catalyst is for them. Oh, is it? Why 6 weeks? Why 6 weeks? In 6 weeks, like after it's out, you can craft 1 piece. You're gonna have to wait 3 more weeks to be able to craft all of them. Let's say your RNG is like completely dog shit, okay? What is the point of the catalyst? The way I see it, which is the biggest issue with World of Warcraft since I don't even know when, this is by far the biggest issue. Why would you ever play a patch when it launches? When you can literally wait a couple months and you can catch up like this to the people who were at the top. Why? Why is this a fucking thought process in Blizzard? It's like, oh, well, we want to have catch-up systems. Why? Just make the game more fucking accessible from the get-go, and people won't need to catch up because people can just get there on their own and do the fucking process. But when the process is so fucking tedious that you need to have catch-up systems, you are fucking everyone over. Jesus Christ, it's not fucking rocket science. Who is designing this game and for who?
Community, right, the WoW community, at least some elements of pugs and crafting, has long been cultivated into a bit of a toxic cesspool. If you have a good guild or a good group of friends, then honestly, World of Warcraft is a buttery smooth ride and is utterly brilliant.
I really hate this point. It's like, oh, well, if you have a good group of friends, like, you play with them, or you have a good guild and you play with them, it's like, then World of Warcraft is a good experience. Yeah, no shit. Every fucking game is gonna be a good fucking experience if you play with your friends who you enjoy playing with. Like, it's... Whoa! World of Warcraft is good if you play with your friends? Yeah, no shit. Show me a game that is not good if you play with people you actually want to play with. This is such a dumb fucking point. I hate this point the most. This is such... Oh my god, I don't know why it's fucking annoying me, but it is!
But if you are doomed to be playing with strangers, and still log in, then, I mean, look, you've got a stronger will than me or Matt, I know that at least. Everywhere people talk about WoW is just flooded with these horrible stories, and I'm sure if you've browsed r/WoW or the forums or even Twitter, you've seen people just have really bad experiences, you know?
Bro, that the Frost kick is fucking hilarious. Are you Frost? Yeah, am I kicked? And he gets kicked. I'm sure it's like, I feel like that was staged, but whatever, doesn't matter. He also goes on to say that it's like some tanks are getting bullied out of high mythic plus. I'm sorry, look, if you're doing a high mythic plus as a tank and you don't know the fucking route, yeah, you're gonna get bullied. Learn the fucking route before you do a high mythic plus. You're ruining, because the thing is like, oh well, they're ruining the experience for the tank. The tank is ruining the experience for 4 other players. Are you fucking kidding me? I had a tank, bear, that we were doing what's the Azure lifespan or whatever, Azure span, the dungeon Azure span, okay, forgot the name, Azure vaults, and this guy didn't know what the bosses were doing. This is like a mythic 6. This was his first Mythic 6 Azure span. Like, he didn't do any Azure span at all. He didn't know the pools. He alerted the fucking dragon, like the dragon shits, like the dragon whelps. Could not do the mechanics on the first boss. We actually wiped twice. Right? It's like, yeah, I fucking left. I'm not staying for that shit. I'm not here to teach someone in the Mythic plus 6 how to fucking do his job. No, he should have learned it on his own. He should have done the Mythic 0. He should have learned it. Or he will have a few runs like this where he gets hate and he will learn and he'll move on. I'm like, bro, I'm not here to fucking train you how to do your fucking job. I'm going into a Mythic Plus assuming you know what the fuck you're doing, because the system is made in such a way that you better know what the fuck you're doing, or no, you don't get time, the key gets destroyed and depleted, and then it lowers the level, right? It's time-based, there's a limited amount of loot, it's a fucking plus 6, so I'm not even getting anything out of it. I was just there to, like, you know, just try out red for a bit. Yeah, no, I'm not there to train anybody. Holy shit. Anyways, yeah, that's the video. That's his, you know, he's basically saying everything I said why I already quit, which basically calls for another run of...
These problems are not the existential crises like damn near everything we had to talk about during Shadowlands.
Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. I love being right. Finally, Bellular is coming back to his senses. I feel like we are going back into the same circle, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video. You know, you have the hopium and the copium phase, which is the beginning of the expansion, and then throughout the patch of the first one, you're like, oh, well, look at all these problems we identified. It's like, but I'm sure they're gonna fix it, and then 10.05 comes out, 10.1 comes out. It's like, hey, Blizzard, you haven't fixed any of these issues. You're still trying to balance out the classes that you can't even fucking do. And then 10.2 comes out and they don't fix it. And then 10.3 comes out. It's like, oh, yes, they finally fixed everything. Everyone is happy. Oh, yeah, by the way, it's time for the new expansion to launch. We are listening. They're listening, guys. They're listening. Take care.